here, and you're welcome aboard the Breakfast Cafe. This Wednesday is midweek already. Gosh, how time flies. We'll take a break. When we come back, banters for you. Stay with us. What we're talking about today is so interesting. Guess, balancing lust and love. So what is it? Balancing lust and love refers to the process of harmonizing and integrating two fundamental human drives. Balancing lust and love means finding a healthy equilibrium between these two forces, allowing them to coexist and complement each other in a relationship. Sarah?
You know, this is a very crucial topic, and so sometimes a lot of us, at one point or the other, a couple of us have, you know, made a mistake, replaced both of them.
Yeah, you replace love for lust.
Yeah, so it's important to understand the difference between both. But let's take a look at what lust is. Lust is intense physical attraction driven by hormones and desire. The focus is on pleasure and gratification, and it can be all-consuming and short-term. Love, on the other hand, is a deep emotional connection. It is driven by attachment, care, and commitment. It's focused on mutual growth and well-being. It can be long-term and enduring. You know, they always say love is patient, love is kind, love is enduring, love is this, love is that. So you need to understand the difference between what love and lust is. So you need to be able to balance both and know when this is what you're feeling, so you don't think you feel the other way around.
Gosh, I like it. This is so good. Now, balancing lust and love, that's what this is all about. Number one, this is how you do it. Acknowledge both. You need to realize that there's something called love and there's something called lust, and there's a difference. Recognize the importance of both lust and love in a relationship. To communicate openly, discuss desires, boundaries, and expectations with your partner. I know boundaries is one of the things we really talked about on this platform. But desire, that is an intense emotion that needs to be really scrutinized.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm glad we're talking about it today. It's important that you talk about your desires with your partner. Number three, prioritize intimacy, nurture emotional connection and vulnerability. Gosh, human beings are not robots. You know, you need to make yourselves understand that. Number four, manage expectations. Understand that lust may wax and wane while love endures. Now, Sarah reeled out a couple of qualities of love.
Yeah.
It endures, it's long-suffering, it does not count, what's it called now?
The mistakes, errors.
Doesn't count errors, right? And number five, cultivate trust, right? Build trust to navigate lust and love together. Is that even a possibility, navigating love and lust? But that's what this is telling us. Number six now, embrace imperfection. This is so germane. Embrace imperfection. Accept that relationships involve ups and downs. People grow.
Perfect.
Yeah, people grow in relationships. Even you know, a relationship between siblings.
Yeah.
You grow, you develop.
Until you understand that as much as you're not perfect, the other person is not perfect. And it's okay to love the person through their imperfections and challenges, while the person is also working on themselves. It's important that the person is constantly working on themselves. So.
Fantastic. Number seven now, foster independence, maintain individuality within the relationship. The fact that when you become a couple, they say 1 + 1 = 1 in a marriage, that does not mean that your individuality is erased. You're still an individual. Once you and your partner understands that, hey, you're good to go. Now, number eight, practice self-reflection. Let me take that again. Practice self-reflection. This is what I do a lot, right? Regularly assess your feelings and needs. And number nine, seek support. Consult with therapists or trusted advisors if needed. Let me pass the baton to you, Sarah. I don't know if you do this, but this is something I don't explore, though.
Yeah. So
consulting therapists and all.
Well, as much as it's advisable sometimes, the thing I always ask people is, so you're consulting a therapist and you're feeling better 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Now the thing is this sustainable?
That's
After your session or your sessions,
what happens?
What happens after? Bearing in mind that consulting therapists or counselors or what have you is also expensive.
Very.
Yes, I've had the opportunity to at least know what they charge, and they charge per hour. So if you're going to do that, you need to understand that it's going to cost you money, and you need to get to that point where even after the whole you can't consult a therapist forever.
And you know the irony of it? Some of the therapists
are going through worse.
They have therapists.
A lot of them, when you later realize what they are going through, you'll be like, how can this person even solve my problem? But if it makes you feel better, if you think that that is what you need, then why not? But if not, if you feel like talking to a trusted friend or spending time alone or taking a break, sometimes it's okay to take a break. Take a break from everything. Just shut yourself out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay. Do away with your phone. Just have that personal time. If you feel like it'll make you better, why not? But the last one here is embrace growth. One of the things to also look out for is growth. View challenges as opportunities for growth and deeper connection. Now, by understanding and balancing lust and love, you can cultivate a healthy, fulfilling relationship that honors both physical attraction and emotional connection. That is just a very good way to, land on this. If we're able to balance both, you cultivate a healthy, fulfilling relationship, that honors both physical attraction and emotional connection. We believe that you've learned 1, 2, or maybe 10 things about balancing love and lust this morning, and we believe that you put them into practice, because that's what we're here for, to update you on different things. That's it on our banters and etiquette segment this morning. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the newspapers for our newspaper review. Do stay with us.
Well, if you just joined us, it is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. My girl Sarah and I, Vivian, are in the house. And this segment is where we get to take a look at the national dailies. So if you're game, let's get this show on the road. I begin with the Punch. Major headline here says, FG, that's the federal government, opens IDP camps as flood submerges 70% of Maiduguri. Now, the subtitle of that story is Borno Dam Collapse. Yeah, that's what resulted to the flooding. We have one writer to that story. Let's see now. Let's see what it's saying. Inmates escape and thousands displaced. Tinubu National Assembly. Governors pledge aid as NEMA, that is the National Emergency Management Agency, begins evacuation. Sarah, what jumps out at you? That rider, inmates escaping.
We see a lot of times prison break, if I could use that word.
Yeah, there's a series like that.
Yeah, there's a series like that where inmates escape, weather affected the whole situation, the walls collapsed and all of this, and this time around it is flooding.
Yeah.
First off, it's important to state that our hearts go out to Borno State, Maiduguri. It's a terrible situation. I saw videos yesterday. In fact, I saw the Vice President in person of Kashim Shettima,
who happens to be a former governor of Borno.
He was trying to, with some delegates and security and all of that, was trying to navigate through the flooding and all of that, and you could see people crying. Some people have lost their loved ones, they can't find them anymore. It's a very, very disturbing situation in Borno State. Cars have been submerged, houses, and You know, we always say this thing. Now, this is a dam that collapsed, according to reports. That's why we have this situation. We see that's the Vice President, Kasim Shettima, you know, in the one of the areas affected by the flood. In fact, there's another, this was the particular video I saw where they were trying to, you know.
And that's the Vice President wading through.
Yes, he's the one with the multicolored T-shirt, you know, slowly wading through the flood. You can see that this is a very, very disturbing situation to have the Vice President of the country. So this is just even one of so many cases that happen in the country that we probably do not get to see make the news as much as this is. And NEMA has begun evacuation, and we hope that this situation will be contained as soon as possible. Now, this inmate that escaped, that's another conversation entirely.
Totally different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Well, our hearts go out to everyone in
Absolutely.
Borno State, Kaduna. We hope that this situation is properly managed. And moving on, we hope that we start to take proactive measures. You know, we always say these things. They issue out warning, flood alerts in so states, not 20 states, 30 states. We hope that our proactiveness, you know, increases.
This is something you always say.
Yeah.
Be proactive. Don't react to stuff. Be proactive. Now, I like the fact that President Tinubu, the National Assembly, and governors are pledging aid. But the thing is, don't just stop at the pledges. Make it happen, right? Now, if you take a look at the front page of the Punch, a close look, you still have a pictorial illustration of the havoc this flood has caused. And you see an exodus of people. You know, I think they are going to higher ground where it's not flooded. It's just very unfortunate. And like Sarah says, our hearts are with our brethren in Borno. Now in Middle Strip, some politics now, talking about the Edo gubernatorial poll. INEC ready for free, fair poll. That is coming from the INEC Empire chief, the INEC chief, Yakubu. Also below that, Obi canvasses vote for Akpata in Benin, that's the capital of Edo State. Above the masthead, this one here says, why NNPC may not lift Dangote petrol on Sunday. So it looks like the September 15 date is shifting.
Well, why do I have mixed feelings? You know, when it's as though your mind has prepared itself for eventualities. We've heard a lot of cases where they postpone a lot of things till we get tired of it. I just felt like, my mind just felt like, okay, this might just be one of those things. Yeah,
like the national refineries that were supposed to have, you know, they were supposed to have started working, but they kept postponing. But it's very unfortunate that there's Dangote field, but because of pricing, Nigerians do not have access to it. But let's see how that goes, though. There's a rider to that story. It's important that I take it. Fuel importers fear domestic production. That's coming from Refiners Association. Fuel importers fear domestic production. I wonder what that is about. Well, if you're wondering like I am, just go straight to page 19 for details of that story. And right beside that, we have Southwest governors to spend 266 billion naira on airport projects. That is, you get details of that page 22. Airport projects, this time when Nigerians are crying for help. I don't know, when it comes to a table of priority, our leaders should get it right. But let's go way below the Middle Strip. Lagos Red Line train to transport 150,000 passengers daily. That's awesome. This is a good one. Right, page 26 got details of that. We also have this one here. 10,000 new recruits for deployment February 2025. That's next year. This is coming from the police. Page 7 has details of that story. Lastly, 70,000 naira wage. NYSC awaits a federal government directive on new corpus pay. Page 7 has details. I thought they had already started receiving it.
No, they've not. I think it's still the 33,000 naira that they are receiving. But with this new minimum wage, we look forward to seeing the amount that they will be receiving, maybe from this current batch that is in camp. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that wraps it up for us on the front page of The Punch. Sarah's got more for you.
Yes, we'll take the Vanguard newspaper, I beg your pardon, but do not forget that you can be a part of the conversation. 0812-182-015, first number to call is displayed on your screen. You want to contribute to any of the headlines, or you want to bring us up to speed, anything at all, we're here to take your calls. Now, the Vanguard has NLC as the major caption here. It says, Ajero, nobody is above the law. This statement is coming from the federal government of Nigeria. And a lot of writers to the story, a whole lot of writers talking about allegations of right abuse in Nigeria false as federal government replies the UK TUC. Recall that Joe Ajero was apprehended at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja on Monday morning.
On his way to
the UK for a TUC conference and meeting or what have you. And it was taken in by the DSS. And the NLC released a lot of statements. They already said they gave the DSS an ultimatum of midnight that Monday to release Joe Ajero, or they should expect whatever comes out of it. And just as that happened, the DSS also laid siege at Serap's office. You know, all of these things taking place.
They denied it yesterday.
They denied it. They denied it. But, you know, investigation is still ongoing.
Yeah.
And
did it surprise you that when the NLC backed the DSS,
they released the Joe Ajero? Well, someone said something on Monday that they are all friends. I heard someone say they are all friends, so they would resolve it. You know, we're just having the conversation. That was towards afternoon, evening, when the whole thing was gaining a lot of momentum. And like, they're all friends, they will resolve it. And and they released him. That doesn't mean that the investigation or whatever is over, you know, but they have released him. You know,
just yesterday, Lumide and I were right here, and one of the questions he asked, he said he would love to ask a legal practitioner, was that, does the DSS, do they have a constitutional right to pick anybody up at any time or any time? So I put the question to a legal practitioner, barrister, who is a friend, renowned legal practitioner, Barrister Tunde Kolawole, and this was what he says. It is an aberration and usurpation of the regular police work. That is where and when the general security of the nation is undermined that they're coming. In fact, they are meant to preoccupy themselves with surveillance and covert investigations, and when through, hand over the matter to the police for prosecution.
It's amazing that we also have a barrister who'll be joining us this morning.
Fantastic.
So we'll be able to talk more about this. But it's on page 5, Vanguard newspaper. We move very quickly, very quickly. Just above the masthead, in deepening its capital market, Nigeria raises over $900 million 5-year inaugural domestic FGN US dollar bond. That's at page 20. Read. There's also an infographics, rather a pictorial representation of the flood situation in Maiduguri, Borno State, as agony as flood wreaks havoc in Maiduguri. We see children stranded, people trying to make their way out, you know. Residents wade through the thigh-deep flood in Maiduguri. Also, the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital was also affected. In fact, seeing that the teaching hospital, I'm just wondering, patients that are in the hospital receiving one form of treatment or the other, how would they be able to successfully, you know, move all of them out? Because it has affected them one way or the other. They have to do some sort of evacuation as well. Wouldn't this also affect their recovery or treatment process? What's the alternative? What's the plan B that they've put in place? All of these questions are things that are running through my mind. Also,
it is important to note that in a situation of war or disaster like this one here, women and children are the most affected. They're hardest hit. They're the vulnerable, so it is important that the authorities give them special attention.
Yeah, right. But away from that story, we have this one. Bandit leader Bello Turji and others will soon be captured. That's coming from CDS.
That's a promise, yeah?
Yeah. Said they'll soon be captured. So our fingers are crossed. It's on page 12. And lastly, sports page 45. Vanguard newspaper has this headline: Morocco 2025, Eagles versus WAPS. It's been a barren draw in Kigali. That sums it up for us on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
I know that the Super Eagles, they had a good one. The last match, they trashed their opponent 3-0. I do hope they perform well this time around. Well, let's quickly take a look at what the Daily Trust is saying here. Major headline, Daily Trust: flooding is a subtopic. Over 200,000 displaced, children missing in Maiduguri. Now, that's a very, very disturbing one. Children are missing. I do hope they're found. I got a number of riders. This is an important story, so I'm just going to read through them. Corpses float as cemetery washed away. Gosh, this is a health hazard that must be immediately looked into. Second rider says houses, Shehu's palace, hospital submerged. Crocodiles, snakes escape into communities. Oh gosh. This is getting worse by the minute. But the last rider here says, Shetima consoles victims as Zulum reopens IDP camps. The picture here is a pictorial representation of the havoc as well that the flooding has wreaked. Let's see what this one here is saying. Below that picture we talked about, 125,517 terrorists, family members surrendered. This is coming from the Defense Headquarters. Above the masthead, Ajero's arrests violation of trade union freedom. That's coming from UKTUC. Remember that Sarah had read in one of the dailies that the federal government is saying nobody is above the law.
Exactly. Very
true. Well, you saw the story on the front page of the Daily Trust says Nigeria's crude oil production rose to 1.352 million in August. That's coming from OPEC. Away from Nigeria, Israel kills 248 Palestinians in safe zones. Whoa, as rights groups condemn siege. Now, safe zones are zones where, I mean, the warring parties are not supposed to invade.
They are not even supposed to have access to those zones, you know, but it's sad that a safe zone is no longer a safe zone. And
the safe zone is no longer a safe zone. Well, let's take a look at these other stories on the front page of the Daily Trust, way below the below the middle strip. This one here says, retired judge charged with assaulting neighbor's wife. I mean, this is the law. Somebody who maintains the law assaulting his neighbor's wife. Hey, but this other story says, youths block road over killing of charcoal dealers in Bauchi. Lastly, 5 bandits killed, corpses dumped in FCT community. Gosh, that's gory. So the bandits have been killed. How come their corpses have been dumped in the community? It's hazardous.
Unhealthy,
Well, that wraps it up for us on the front page of the Daily Trust.
We quickly take a look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. The major caption has the Southwest 39 dams moribund over poor maintenance and obsolete equipment. There's an infographics on the breakdown here. 75% of the dams in the country were constructed for domestic and industrial water supply, 33% for irrigation and water storage, 29% for fisheries, 16% for recreation, 4% for hydroelectricity. All of this, you get all of the details on page 6, Guardian newspaper. Beside that, World Health Organization declares Mpox outbreak a global health emergency, so we need to take this seriously. You know, we need to give out more sensitization, awareness, preventive measures, causes, you know, in every part of the world, so that everyone can be careful. It's a page 4 read. Beneath that story, 18 die in 3 road crashes along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. That's on Metro page 8. Government begins implementation of zero duty on selected food items. You get details on business page 19. You want to know what the selected food items are. We can no longer afford further hikes in interest rate, manufacturers warn. That's a page 6 read. Very, very important one there. Yusuf visits vandalized Kano High Court, says sensitive document on Ganduje stolen. Sometimes when I see all these things, it shows that our method of storage, or what's the word now? Now the court was vandalized and they say they've stolen Ganduje's documents. Are we saying that means the cases, we don't have a case anymore? Is it things have become digital?
Yeah, electronic. So there is no electronic storage or what?
It's like everything on paper. Once you don't do it, that's it. But away from that, pressure mounts on Tinubu to sack all sector chiefs. Fingers crossed. Party disowns Ebiseni as Labour Party gubernatorial candidate in Ondo State. That's a page 7 read. And lastly, protest was sitting on a time bomb. Sule tells northern governors. You get details on page 4. Guardian newspaper, and those are the stories on the Guardian newspaper this morning, and that's where we'll wrap up the review of the front pages. We'll take a break now. When we're back, we'll be having a conversation with a guest to analyze some of these headlines. Do stay with us.
Myopic, myopic, myopic. As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Well, if you just joined us, it's the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. Sarah and Vivian in the house. Second part of the newspaper review. In a short while, we'll be joined by guest analyst barrister Oluwatobi Fatoki. In the meantime, though, this story that Sarah talked about on the front page of The Guardian actually is common, right? But the way The Guardian did it is fantastic. Now, it says 39 dams moribund over poor maintenance, obsolete equipment. Keep in mind that the reason for the flooding in Borno State is because a dam collapsed. Now, take a look at what the Guardian said. 75% of the dams in the country were constructed for domestic and industrial water supply. 33% for irrigation and water storage, 29% for fisheries, 16% for recreation, I beg your pardon, and 4% for hydroelectricity. But the crux of the matter, Sarah, is that these dams, most of them, especially the southwest, 39 of them are moribund over poor maintenance and obsolete equipment. And this is not just oh, okay, fantastic. Our guest is here. Why don't we let him join the conversation, Barrister Oluwatobi Fatoki. Barrister, such a pleasure to have you join us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure joining you.
All right. So before we let you talk about the case of flooding and moribund obsolete equipment when it comes to dams, Sarah and I were saying we're going to ask you, you are in Ibadan, right?
Yes.
How's the field situation right now? What's it selling for over there?
Yeah, it's selling for 1,000 naira, 1,000 plus, and I think some other major stations sell for 900. Yeah, 900. Then I don't want to mention the names.
No,
I don't know how much NPC sell. I don't know how much NPC sell because the queue at NPC filling stations, it doesn't worth queuing for. It doesn't worth one's precious time because we do say that time is money.
Yeah.
So if we are queuing to NPC, even at that their own price, also calculates what you are losing at the end. I said we do have that precious time to utilize for other things. So then other stations 1,000, 100, 900 and the likes, and it is where people are feeling the pains. It has not been easy at all. It has not.
All right. So let's talk about flooding and the havoc it has wreaked in Borno State. Take a look at the Punch. Major headline. The subtitle says Borno Dam collapse Keep that in mind. And then it's saying that the federal government has opened an IDP camp as flood submerges 70% of Maiduguri. Right, and then go to the Guardian. You will see that there is infographics there, and the Guardian says Southwest 39 dams moribund over poor maintenance and obsolete equipment. Put this together. What's running through your mind right now?
Thank you very much. First, I need to commiserate with those that have lost their lives as the result of the flood in Borno State. Most especially the state capital, Maiduguri. May God console the family left behind, because of course some people have lost their lives due to the flood. And yeah, let us be truthful to ourselves. It is a joint, effort, but the bulk of it lies in the hands of governments. Talking about being proactive, dam won't just suddenly collapse. What are the maintenance mechanisms that have been put in place to maintain our dams, to see to the, to the lifespan, to the durability, to the usage? What are the measures put in place? And I believe before such a thing as being said by government could have happened, there would have been the known of it. So what have been done? At the end of the day, the citizens are the ones suffering. This time around now, it affected the government house as well. But unfortunately, the governor is not around. The deputy governor too is on leave. But the masses, everybody is the capital. They are suffering. And let us go back to our construction. Go to the major cities, not even Borno alone. Anywhere, you see, there is always poor. We have this kind of poor construction when it comes to road and the gullies. The drainage, yes, they might construct good drainages for easy flow of water, when it's rainy season and the likes, or when the dam is being opened for movement and the likes, because it's not only about the dam area alone. But what's happened, that's why I said it's a joint task. The populace, the citizens, market women, road users, what happened? They turn the gullies, the drainages to a dumping site. Go to Lagos, go to Ibadan, go to different states, go and check the gullies. Those that have coverage, remove the coverage. You'll be surprised with the debris, with the deaths, and all sorts of things. We find that we deter the free flow of water. That we deter, and at the end of it, it affects when the water fights back. When there is no access, it comes back to affect humanity. It comes back to destroy lives and properties. And that is what has happened in Borno State. Now everywhere is filled with water, everywhere is submerged. So it is a joint task. Let the government play their roles. Now they have said, okay, they are going to put measures into place, federal government is going to intervene and the likes. But if proactive measures have taken place in the past, if the citizens have utilized the drainages the way it is meant to be, it has been neat, clean, they have easy flow of water and the likes, then this wouldn't have happened. And it is a lesson to all other states, to all other regions, to all other towns. It is a lesson to all other places where we have dams. It is a lesson. Let them be proactive. Don't let us start crying after the milk has been spilled. We should be proactive, we should be effective, and ensure that there is no blockage to the water flow, because these things like this will be the end results.
Talking about being proactive is one thing I always reiterate every time, that it's important that we take steps. Let's not wait for issues to happen before we start looking for how to remedy the situation, and you just hammered on that more. But let's digress a bit. You're a legal practitioner. Let's talk about Joe Ajaero, the NLC, the federal government. Now, this morning on the Vanguard newspaper, federal government has come out to say nobody is above the law in regards to the DSS arrest of Joe Ajaero. And the Daily Trust puts it this way: Ajaero's arrest is a violation of trade union freedom. Now, first off, as a legal practitioner, Let us get your perspective in regards to what happened. Jajero picked up by the DSS at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Is this this act by the DSS, is it in the right direction? Is it within their jurisdiction to just pick up anybody at any time, for some sort of interrogation or questioning? Let us kick off with that point first before we go deeper.
Thank you very much. Let us look at this issue critically well. Well, the DSS is empowered to investigate, especially issues that borders on security lapses or that could affect the national security. And from their own end, we now have a new sheriff, director of DSS, and they inherited some petitions from their own end, and they stated, which was albeit confirmed, that the labor union leader was invited but shunned their invitation. Well, if there is a national threat, if there are concrete suspicions, reasonable suspicion to be investigated, of course, they have the right to arrest, just like every other security agencies. But the right to arrest is very wide. What the law says is that there must be a reasonable suspicion. Don't just arrest somebody at will, not at will. What are the allegations? Have you procured a warrant if the person has refused to honor your invitation? Have you procured a warrant of arrest to get a person arrested? And the like. So there are measures that must be put in place. That is from the angle of the security agencies. And we know that Mr. Ajaero has been in the news for some days now, weeks, since the time of these the protesters, agitating for a better Nigeria, accountability and the likes, and things to be where governance should be properly done. And it borders on, then we start hearing news of treasonable felony, usurpation of some points to take over the country, flags, Russian flags in the country and the likes, somebody occupying a floor in the labor's house and the likes. And he was invited by the police, in which he honored with his lawyer, Femi Falana, and he answered questions. He was interrogated, and he left. Now, if issues borders on that, and that investigation is going on, then why now start having what we call a conflict of interest or multiple arrests, if it still borders on the same issues? Because now, when Mr. Ajaero spoke upon his release, when Labour Union threatened that, we are going to shut down the country if the ultimatum, if it wasn't released before 12 p.m.
midnight, yes.
Monday, then midnight, yes, then they are going to shut down the nation. Then it was released, I think, around 11 p.m. And he said, when he was arrested, it was still the same IRT team of the Nigerian police that came, though was interviewed by the DSS, and they started asking questions, just to nail him things about the labor union, if he knows somebody who he employed and the likes. So, the question to ask is, has there been any reasonable suspicion, aside the ongoing investigation by the Nigerian police force, by the IRT, by the police, in which he has attended to with his legal practitioner, in which he has not refused his presence? So is there any further reasonable suspicion calling for his arrest? Aside that, there is what we call a bilateral relationship between nations. This is NLC boss president. The government is aware that there is a trade union congress going on outside the country, in which he was bidded to deliver a paper, Dirax. Now, what image are we putting? So if there is anything at all that is a total threat to national security that cannot wait, then why has it not been released? So that means that if there is any allegation whatsoever against Mr. Ajaero, that means you could have waited for him to arrive. Then you can now, okay, if further invites him, if you refuse, you can now get your warrant of arrest, but not a situation like this when we are now promoting a negative image of the nation for issues like this. So, as I said at the initial, the DSS has the power to arrest if somebody is evading arrest. But the way and manner in which this arrest was carried out is what is being questionable. Yes, we all now talking about his rights, whether his right has been violated or not. Yes, we all have our fundamental rights as enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Constitution. Part of it is freedom to right, freedom of movement, and the likes. And talking about even arrest, you have time frame. You cannot be kept more than at most 48 hours before you are being charged with. Court must be know the offense in which you are being arrested with. Even those protesters, some of them are still in detention.
Yeah.
To date, being charged. So now, the arrest was made. It has been granted bail. As I said, we all have our fundamental rights.
Let me come in here, Barrister. Yes, let's hold on, Barrister. Let's dissect your submission a little bit. You wondered if this was based on, the same charge that the police had invited him over earlier on. It was in the papers yesterday that the DSS arrested him for something different entirely. This is a totally different charge. But you also said the DSS has a right to pick anybody up. But this is what your colleague Tunde Kolawole said. I'm sure you know him. That it is an aberration and usurpation of the regular police work for the DSS to pick up anybody. It is where and when the general security of the nation is undermined that they're coming. In fact, they are meant to preoccupy themselves with surveillance and covert investigations, and when through, hand over the matter to the police for prosecution. How would you react to that?
Yeah, that's what I said. Abini showed not in his own line of putting it, that when the national security of the nation is being undermined, they have the right to invite and to arrest within the ambit of the law. And I said that, was there a warrant of arrest? If they are saying they has been invited and he has refused, and the national, if the national security of the nation is being undermined and is genuine, is reasonable suspicion, not just a mere suspicion, not just to intimidate, but must be something concrete. Is there any concrete evidence? Is there any reasonable suspicion on ground against the NLC president? Those are the issues that should be looked at. If they have done their discrete investigation and there is an allegation that could undermine the national security, then they have the rights. But if it's just based on, let us speaking for the RRT, yes, you cannot, there is no way you cannot be a judge in your course. And you must all the other time. The DSS have stayed their own position. Ajaero has stayed in his own position. He has analyzed what led to his own arrest, that was being held. The RRT came, they were asking this and that. Then how does that correlate with national threat to national security? How does that correlate? But talking about their general power, they can. But in the way and manner in which he has been carried out against him is what we are all condemning right now and saying no. Then the bilateral relationship I was speaking of earlier, what image of the nation are you projecting? So that clarifies it all.
All right, that's this conversation is not going to be swept under the carpet anytime soon, and we'll definitely keep getting updates as to how it unfolds. But thank you so much for joining us this morning, Barrister Oluwatobi Fatoki, and for sharing your thoughts with us on some of the trending stories on the papers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are most welcome, Sarah, and the co-presenter. You are most welcome.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Now, that was a conversation with Barrister Oluwatobi Fajoki, a legal practitioner, and we're able to touch on the first situation in Ibadan, Oyo State. We also talked about the issue of flooding, using Maiduguri as a case study, and now Ajero. But this conversation about Ajero is taking different turns. You know, we're talking about Serap as well, and I saw that they came out to say that they didn't lay siege. DSS came out to say, let me take what they said. Vanguard newspaper puts it this way. This is as the secret police said on Tuesday that its presence at the Abuja office of the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, did not amount to invasion, adding that its operatives were there for investigation.
And this is within the ambit of the law. The DSS can investigate,
Said
right?
they were there for investigation, but they did not invade. We'll see how everything, keeps unfolding eventually. But that's it on our newspaper review segment for this morning. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We'll take a break. We'll be back for the second half of the Breakfast Cafe. To stay with us.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Production can kill a great content idea.
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393-5694 or 0915-958-1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
You are welcome. Well, if this is your first time aboard, so good to have you. It is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. I am Vivian Oguche and my girl Sarah is right here with me. We've been taking a look at lots of issues, right? We've bantered, we've taken a look at the national dailies. We've also had our guest, Barrister Fatoki, talk to us. This time around, though, it's a little bit light-hearted, right, but very interactive. We'll put a question out to the people, to the net. The net, what's it called? Metaverse? Yes, metaverse. And this was what we put out, the question. What hurts more, a relationship breakup or a friendship breakup? That was what we asked, and we had lots of comments that's been pouring in from the internet. Sarah, what do you think hurts more, a relationship breakup or a friendship breakup?
Well, I just think both can hurt so much. You know, imagine being friends with somebody for years. Yeah. You know, you're more like your siblings. You guys are now family, and then something just happens and you have to break up. This is somebody that you've literally shared your life with, in quote, as a friend. It would hurt a lot. A whole lot. In fact, it's safe to say sometimes friendship breakup hurts more than relationship breakup. What I mean is, it's possible that you're breaking up with a friend that you've known for like 10 years, grew up together or what have you, or you met in school and you've been together ever since then. The person knows you in and out, and you're probably breaking up with a lover. It's not like it won't hurt. Maybe you guys have been together 1 year, 2 years. It's not as though it won't hurt. It would hurt, but sometimes you'll be amazed that that friendship breakup might hurt you more than the relationship breakup. So I think it just depends. Both can hurt so much. Depends on who you're talking about, how long you've been together as friends or lovers or what have you. So I can't weigh. You can't.
There's a thing line now. Why it looks like a romantic breakup when it comes to a romantic relationship, why it seems like it can hurt more is because of the intensity of emotions, right? When it comes to a lover, lots of, chemistry. But, when it comes to friendship, it's more about longevity, like you said earlier on. But let's find out what people are saying, though. Both relationship and friendship breakups hurt equally because they involve the loss of emotional connection and attachment. The pain is real regardless of the type of relationship. Now this is coming from Alima, and Alima is right here in Lagos. Thank you.
Right, away from the views away from the comments we got from the net, you, our viewer, can also share your thoughts. Which hurts more, a friendship breakup or a relationship breakup? 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. Now, this is Kayode from Egbeda. Kayode says, in the midst of a relationship breakup, it's vital to acknowledge your feelings, allow yourself to grieve, and seek closure to aid in the healing process. It's a time for self-discovery, self-care, and envisioning a future filled with personal growth and new beginnings. Similarly, a friendship breakup can prompt reflection, gratitude for shared experiences, and a renewed focus on nurturing relationships that bring positivity and support into your life.
So what Kayode did was to tell us what happens after a breakup.
Yeah.
He didn't say which one
Which one
hurt
hurts
most,
more.
but he says this is what you can do after a breakup. But based on the fact that he started with breakup after, after a romantic relationship, I think for him that hurts most. But let's see. In a relationship breakup, the pain can be profound, often stemming from the emotional investment and intimacy shared. It can feel like a part of you is missing, causing deep emotional turmoil. On the flip side, a friendship breakup can be equally painful as it involves losing a confidant, someone you've laughed and cried with, shared secrets and dreams. Both situations can leave lasting emotional scars. Of course, this is Queen from Great Yavatek.
Queen
Thank
is
you.
very apt, Both of them can leave scars. I've had a friendship breakup, and sometimes when I just stumble on the person's page or whatever, it just feels like something is pricking. When you've built a bond with someone and for personal reasons you both just decide that let's just break up. Not that you can't talk to each other anymore, but that connection,
The
that
tie.
bond you used to share as friends. So it's important that we understand, like I said, it depends on who we're talking about, how long we've been together as friends. Same thing with lovers, so it's not cast in stone for me.
Yeah.
But let's see John from Yabatek. John says friendship breakups can be more painful because they are often unexpected and involve a sense of betrayal. You thought you had a lifelong connection, but it turns out it wasn't meant to be. That is John from Yabatek.
Okay, now we have more. Let's see. The aftermath of a relationship breakup can bring about a period of grief, self-reflection, and healing. It can be a time to rediscover yourself, learn from the experience, and grow stronger. Similarly, a friendship breakup can offer a chance to evaluate your relationships, set boundaries, and prioritize those who truly value and respect you. It's a time for self-care and nurturing other meaningful connections. That is Sheyi Funmi from Oshun. Thank you.
Right, let's take Kenny from Mushi. Kenny says this: friendship breakups can be more painful because friendships are often built on trust, loyalty, and shared experiences. Losing a friend can feel like losing a part of your identity. Very true. Kenny, thank you so much for your comment.
All right, we've got more comments. During a relationship breakup, it's common to experience a roller coaster of emotions, from heartache to relief to uncertainty about the future. It can be a time of rediscovery, learning to stand on your own 2 feet, and redefining what you want in a partner. Similarly, a friendship breakup can lead to introspection, reevaluating your social circle, and investing in relationships that are based on mutual respect and support. That's Jude from Akwa Ibom.
Right, let us know what your thought is. Which is more painful, a friendship breakup or a relationship breakup? 0812-182-015 first number to call. Let's take Bolaji from Yabatek. Bolaji says a relationship breakup hurts more because of the emotional investment and intimacy involved. You've shared your life, hopes, and dreams with someone, making the loss feel like a part of you is gone. Where's the lie? Very true though.
Yeah.
And you've built something. Sometimes I see people that break up, romantic relationship, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. I'm like, how? Like, what exactly went wrong? Imagine you started dating this person maybe when you were 20 or 25 or whatever, and you're like 35, and then you guys now have to break up. You now have to start the whole process all over again. It's like you've just lost a part of you, and it can be very painful. Getting yourself back on feet will take a lot of intentionality.
I know, right? Starting from scratch is like putting up a new building all over again. Yeah. But let's find out what Grace from Mina is saying. Grace says both types of breakups can be equally painful because they involve the loss of someone important in your life. The key is to allow yourself to grieve and heal. Thank you, Grace.
Talking about grieving, it's important. So, you know, a lot of times people don't like to hear when other people tell them, oh, I'm grieving, I'm in pain. Sometimes it's okay.
Yeah.
Let people grieve. If they want to cry, let them cry. If they need time alone, let them have it. If people grieve in different ways, some people become extremely playful. That's how they know how to grieve. Some people become extremely withdrawn.
Yeah.
That's how they know. Some people just want to talk. They don't need you to say anything. They just want you to listen. They don't expect you to say anything. That's how they know how to grieve. So it's so some people want to cry. Don't see it as a form of weakness.
Oh, crying is therapeutic, I can tell you.
A lot of people feel like, I know a couple of people that they feel like if you're crying, you're very weak.
No.
Why should you be crying? You don't have to cry. You're bigger than this. You know, sometimes it's okay. That's how they know how to let out their pain. Let people cry if they need to cry. If it will make them feel better. You have broken up, you have a breakup, and your friends are telling you, don't cry now. You don't know what I've invested in the relationship.
I think the male actually suffers most when it comes to crying. People feel if a man or a boy cries, they are weak.
They also feel like they cannot cry. No, apart from what the society has made it.
Men feel like they can't.
They also feel like, in fact, sometimes you see women that they've done everything to show that you can be vulnerable with me as a man, right? Yeah. It's okay to let it out. But they feel like, what will happen to their steez or their ego or whatever if they cry?
Sarah, you're cracking me up the way you're saying it.
You know, sometimes, yeah, I just feel like, away from the societal norms, men also have a way of putting themselves in that whole, you might come for me, I don't know, but come on, you guys also try to form like you're very macho, and it doesn't have to work that way. When you find people that give you room to be vulnerable, it's okay to be vulnerable. You're not superhero. You know, I know women can also have their own side. When a man is vulnerable with you, you start to use it against him sometimes. That's where there's a mistake. But if you meet somebody that is mature enough and gives you the opportunity to be vulnerable and all of that, it's okay to just let it out. So
you can be macho and cry, it's okay. But talking about grieving now, we are saying it's okay to grieve, yeah. But when it becomes protracted, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Grieving shouldn't be...
You should know when to stop.
Yeah.
And find something else to keep yourself busy or take your mind off it. Yeah. But let's see Karo Chuku from Abuja. Karo Chuku says, friendship breakups can be more painful because they are often a result of misunderstandings or unresolved issues. It's like losing a connection that could have been salvaged. Karo Chuku from Abuja, thank you so much for your comment.
I like the name, by the way, Karo Chuku. I'm thinking, is it a combo of Caroline and Chuku? Karo Chuku, not Karo Chuku. All right, thank you. Thank you, producer Karo Chuku. Let's see, Bukumi from Unilag. Bukumi. I'm sorry. All right, she's writing us from Unilag, and she says, relationship breakups are more painful because they involve the loss of shared dreams, goals, and aspirations. You've built a life together, making it harder to start over. Thank you so much, BK. Yeah, I'll place it.
Right.
BK from Unilag, thank you.
You know, I just realized that, I'll just say this, it's a personal thing, but I just realized that one friendship breakup that I've had has hurt me more than relationship breakups.
Oh.
Just one friendship breakup that I've had has hurt me because, you know, that's why I said it depends on who you're dealing with, how long you've known the person. Sometimes relationship breakups might not hurt. No, don't get me wrong.
No. Yeah, I understand. I know where you're coming from.
It's not like it will not hurt. Okay, it would hurt, but it might be easier
to get over it
than a friend that you have literally built a space, a world around. You might even get into another relationship, but that friendship scar would remain.
Yeah.
And you might find out that until you probably mend that part, a part of you might just feel like something is missing.
Yeah, so when you miss a friend that much, isn't there a possibility of mending the fence? becoming friends
It's
again.
possible, but you also need to understand that it might never be the same way it used to be.
Absolutely, it's true.
You know, it might never be, and it might. You never can tell. But the last comment here is Ramat from Surulere. Ramat says, the emotional intimacy and vulnerability shared in a relationship makes breakups more hurtful. It's like exposing your soul to someone only to have them walk away.
That's
I
true.
can imagine.
That's
it
true.
can be very, very painful. Very, very, very painful.
All right.
But those are the comments that we have. You know, we have been talking about which hurts more, friendship breakup or relationship breakup. And like I said, it depends on whomever it is you're dealing with. I can't measure that this breakup will hurt more than this breakup. It just depends on how long you've known each other, the kind of connection that you share, the bond that you feel, everything that unites you both together. And if you can mend it, it's okay to mend it if both parties are willing to make it work. Now, it's one thing for me to want to mend it and the other party is not interested. So it can't be a one-man thing. But if you can fix it, why not?
Yeah, never say never, right? On that note, we call it wraps in this segment, and thank you so much for everybody that contributed. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
This season on The Muse.
Retinue.
We walked the halls of creativity,
You know, people always judge by appearances.
traveled through books,
As I pay for my pounded yam and for Europe with goat meat stew and one king size ogufe, now to chop the food remain.
we made art,
What? Oh my God!
and danced with the muses.
Oh, this here ends with EY.
Catch new episodes of The Muse on High Impact Television. Securing the future.
Stoical. Stoical. Stoical.
Good production can kill a great content idea.
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. We've taken a look at some other segments. Right now we move into the segment where we talk about something that is very, very important. Now, this month of September is the PCOS Awareness Month, and it's important that we draw attention to this and, dwell on it. And today we'll be talking about PCOS and its management. I know a lot of us are wondering, what is PCOS? We say Polycystic Ovary Syndrome Awareness, and its management involves understanding the hormonal disorders' impact on women's reproductive and overall well-being. Now, effective management includes a multidisciplinary approach combining lifestyle modifications such as a balanced diet and regular exercise, with medical interventions like hormonal birth control and fertility treatment. It's also important to know that early diagnosis and treatment can help alleviate the symptoms. We won't be taking so much time on this introduction because we have someone in the studio live with us to discuss this important topic in person of Sarah Afolabi Olagoke. She is here with us to discuss PCOS management and awareness in this month. She's a PCOS advocate and the CEO of Tasty Foods. Good morning, Sarah Olagoke.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us live in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
It's like a women affair this morning, considering the topic we're discussing today. To kick off with, PCOS is a very sensitive topic, and if we're not careful, we would go with a lot of myths. So, two questions in one.
Okay.
As an advocate of PCOS, what exactly is PCOS, and what are the major myths that surround it? Because I've heard a lot of things flying around about PCOS. So if you could just break that down to us.
Okay, firstly, PCOS is an hormonal imbalance disorder. It's one of hormonal disorder that we have, and it affects 5 out of 10 women. Okay. In fact, globally we have over 20 million that are affected, and it comes in different forms for women. Some people, you see them bloated tummy, change of voice like mine, and hair growing in so many different places except the head. So for the myths, some people feel, oh, you're eating too much, that's why you are fat. Oh, maybe she's done a whole lot of things, that's why she cannot conceive. Or some will even tell you, oh, you can't find your periods, you should be grateful. You hear that. Some people will tell you, oh, me, I don't want to have period. Or if I'm like you, I will be grateful. But all these things are issues that we just overlook, and people will just say, okay, lose weight. And the funny thing is, there are some women who have PCOS and they are not fat.
Right.
There are some are even menstruating, but they are not ovulating. And once there's no ovulation, definitely conception cannot take place.
Absolutely.
So it happened to me. At first I was menstruating. No. Irregular periods. Then later there was no periods at all. Then I became so bloated. People were like, oh, she's pregnant, because then I just got married. So, oh, thank God she's pregnant. And I'm like, I'm not pregnant. Is it possible that I'm pregnant? I don't know. So we started going from one center to another, from one clinic, from one hospital, different doctors. And we're like, okay, fine, I'm pregnant. Yes, I am. So if anybody say, oh, you're pregnant?
Yes, I'm pregnant.
We're twins.
So you were in spot about it. You know, while you were talking, I had so many questions going, light bulbs all over my head. I mean, oh, she said she couldn't menstruate. Oh, she said she changed her voice. Oh, but for starters, right, I like the fact that you're Sarah and she's Sarah. Some in the midst
of to that.
Sarah. Well, one of the first things I said to you when you came into the studio, or when you had sat down, was that I like your voice. It's deep. I love it. And then you said PCOS gave it to me. Explain that a little. What were you sounding? How did you sound before this happened?
My voice used to be tiny.
Are you kidding me?
So, and it just came like that. At first, I thought I have cold. So I was treating cold. And a friend was like, how can you be using drugs for cold when you are not even having any symptoms of it? I was like, I think it's my voice. Then I started doing voice training again. And I was like, what is going on? So it just get deeper. Then I started developing hair here. Oh my legs, and I'm someone that loves shorts very well. So you imagine someone who loves shorts. So
you became hair.
And I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
It was like your femininity was diminishing.
That's what PCOS done. That's it's presence of androgens. That's male cells. So that's it. So some women, their hairline becomes it will start looking like a male on. So many things. Then some even there are some women that have PCOS and what they're dealing with is acne. So you won't even know that they will keep treating, oh, I'm having skin disorder. But then you need to check on your hormones. You need to do hormonal profiling, go for blood testing.
Yeah, right. Before Sarah comes in here, you said you were bloated. I wouldn't use that word. You had gained excessive weight.
Yes, I used to be very slim.
You used to be very slim?
Yes,
but when PCOS came, you gained excessive weight.
Okay, I would say it started with cravings. That's another thing. Sugar, that's insulin. Then the sugar, this thing. I just noticed that I wanted something very sweet every time. So I became an addict to Pepsi drinks. But along the line, I was like, okay, is this stress level that is affecting me, or I just all of a sudden became sweet tooth? I'm someone that does not take sugar at all.
And then
suddenly I became someone that cannot do it. Even my friends, my colleagues, they were like, what's going on? You like water, we know. But this addiction with
it's not normal. How did you lose your weight?
A whole lot. I have to, because PCOS comes with the management comes with a whole lot of change and lifestyle. You need to change lifestyle. You need to go on certain type of dieting. You need to focus on more quality and healthy nutrition, because you cannot just consume everything. Gluten, you have to go gluten free. You have to do so many things. And again, I tell people it's good to exercise, but not rigorous ones, so that you won't burn out.
Right.
It's PCOS sucks your energy. So you need foods that will give you energy from fiber. So get that from the likes of oats, beans, rice. There's not the regular rice. There is short one, or the further rice. That's our own locally grown rice here.
Right.
So,
you know, it's interesting, and I must commend your courage coming out to speak about your struggle or your battle with PCOS. It takes a lot to actually speak out. And it's obvious it had a lot of changes. You know, you had to experience some body changes, hormonal changes and all of that. But another thing is, would like to know, how early enough were you able to detect that you had PCOS? And what is the healthcare system like now in managing PCOS? If we're going to use Nigeria, our climate, how is it easy to access healthcare that treats PCOS? How affordable is it to say that, okay, maybe out of 100 women, with the affordability and the accessibility, maybe 90% can access it, from your personal experience? So,
okay, so for me, I was able to detect it on time. At first, growing up, I used to have this serious menstrual cramps.
okay.
So then we're like, oh, when you start having sex, oh, when you're married, or when you give birth, you know this myth that comes with cramps. Then my periods used to be regular, then it becomes irregular. Then I was like, what's going on? First month, that was why I said, people were like, oh, you're pregnant. Then first month, second month, third month, I told my husband, I said, this is not normal. I'm not pregnant and I'm not menstruating. Something is wrong somewhere. So if you're menstruating and all of a sudden it stops, you're not, or it becomes irregular, you should attend to it. Go to the hospital, ask them that you want to do profiling. There's a hormonal profiling test. It's a blood test. So if you do that, then they will know, okay, if it's PCOS or something else. Then along the line, we started, I met with hospitals, right? I had to go with, because I'm very, very careful with my health. I'm always saying it that I don't know why you'll be a woman and you'll not be so concerned about your health. Any slight changes, I notice. So I think that was what actually helped me as well. Then I started going from one hospital to another, to get answers, and they started with what's it called, pills, betting pills, to bring back the periods, because they were like, that's the first thing we need to do. We need to bring the periods. If it's not coming, then we know something is wrong. So it brought the periods, but I reacted badly to it. Like the uterus was swollen, so many medical issues. Like it was very terrible experience. Then from there I was able to switch again. Okay, I traveled to South Africa, then I met my husband's doctor, so she recommended a doctor to us, and the man was like, okay, I think we need to get you tested. With this explanation, I do not want to quickly jump on PCOS because it's not really common, but let's just see if it's from there we kicked up. Then I have to come back. I had to meet another gynecologist, and the man was absolutely amazing. So we kicked up from there, and they said, okay, we're dishing the, what's it called, the pills. Now let's go with the thing. And I was like, okay. He said, can we do HSG? Is it HSG or something like that? It's to check fallopian tube. One very painful procedure. Not really painful for others, but for some of us it's painful because they have to go inside. And they were like, oh, it's not blocked, so why is there no conception? Then periods came with all these things, but then there was no ovulation because the cells, the eggs, were not maturing. So one thing about PCOS, you see the womb, and some places we have patches like that, different patches. Those are the mini cysts there. So that's what they call PCOS, like it's multiple of them. So that's what was actually causing infertility.
Okay.
Then we started treatment on that as well. Then we started follicle tracking every month after the periods. And then this thing comes with several miscarriages, failed IVFs, and so many changes. So it's just so funny. But then not only medical procedures, I too took it upon myself, and thanks for the internet as well. That's why I tell people the smartphone is there for good. So it depends on what you want to use it.
Right.
Yes.
You know, while doing my research on this, I stumbled on a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah.
And some people are saying, oh, we've not really gotten to the root causes of PCOS. But while doing my research, I saw a lot of misconceptions. Some said early access to sex, some said abortions, some said unhealthy diet, some said hereditary, you know, a lot of things flying around. So as an advocate, yeah, we know that these things fly around every time, but to dispel these myths, what are some of the causes, if there are any, of PCOS, or is it that it just happens? Or if no, what are some of the causes that, you know, people need to now start looking out for that can lead to PCOS?
Okay, firstly I would say some of it are actually correct. Sometimes it could be hereditary, and sometimes it could be stress level.
Okay.
Mine, when we trace it down, is not hereditary, it's from stress level. And the fact that I used to have painful cramps, like back then, whenever I'm menstruating, I don't go to class first day because you roll. So maybe it could be those drugs that we're using back then, or diet. So mine came with dieting and stress level. So that's why we advise people that if you want to manage it, aside the drugs or whatever they give you in the hospital, you need to work with diet. Your dieting has to be on point. You need to change so many things. You need to, even if you want to have a cheat day, you should know that your cheat day comes with different things. You need to be careful with the cheat day as well, so that it's, because this thing, there's no cure for it. There's no total cure for PCOS yet, but it can be managed to the minimum, to the barest level, whereby conception can take place. Now I'm a mom.
That's nice. Happy to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah. So, and some people who just want to manage it to get their confidence back, because when you start managing it with proper nutrition, that's why I mentioned some foods that you need to take, and you need to go with so many nuts, from what's it called, almonds, cashews, granules. Even the granules is not really what we want, but in case you can't find some of this nuts, then you go with certain spices as well. You need to be careful of the dairy products you want to take. In fact, dairy is not advised, but if you want to, you just have to look out for the ones. Then also mushrooms. Yes, there is a particular one, lion mane mushrooms. So amazing, fantastic. It's very good too. So it works with it. Okay. Then you need to consume beans, beans products.
And then they like to run away from beans.
Yes, you just have to. That's why we have them everywhere now. So like this PCOS thing took a whole change in me, to the point that it's reflected in my brand. Because I was like, okay, if I am experiencing this, then I had to start doing my research, survey. Then we found out that there are so many people out there who have it, but they are ashamed.
Some don't even know.
Some don't even know. It was during our research that we were speaking with some women, and they were saying so many things, and I'm like, do you know that these things that you're saying, it's related to this? And they're like, what's that? I said, okay, you know what, talk to your health practitioner. I'm not a medical doctor, so speak to them.
Yeah, Sarah, before you come in, two things, from what you said so far, you mustn't be heavily dependent on drugs.
Yes.
There are ways you could take care of yourself. Healthy lifestyle.
Healthy lifestyle.
Then something Sarah said earlier on, that there are lots of stuff flying around on the internet. Right? And you had said earlier on that the internet is a good place to do your research, but you must be careful what you take.
Very careful.
Now, another thing you also said was you had so many challenges, miscarriages, hormonal wahala,
Imbalance.
changes, you became hairy, so many things. That took an emotional toll on you, right?
Yeah.
So this brings me to my next question. How can we address the emotional and mental health impacts of PCOS, right, when it comes to, you know, the changes and all of that?
Okay. Due to my experience,
including anxiety, please.
Yes. Due to my experience with the whole mental issues surrounding it, I had to come up with a support group for women.
Okay.
Where we have ourselves to talk to. You have this, okay, is this what you're going through? So someone like me, there's nothing new that wants to come with PCOS. There is nothing that will be new to me anymore. And some who have overcome it. So we have where we talk to ourselves. And there are also ways you have to just be with people who understand you. If they don't understand PCOS, it is your job to educate them so that they can understand, even if you have to talk to people who knows how to pass the message to them. Because the people who you're surrounded, they have lots of impacts. You know that anxiety, depression, generally mental health comes.
Yeah, body image issues.
Yes, so you know some people will get body shamed for it. I got a lot of it.
That body shaming is a big deal. That's why sometimes when people see you and they say, oh, you've added weight, you're now fat, I always feel like you don't know what the person is struggling with or going through, commenting on people's body and all of that.
So how did you handle it when you were body shamed?
Bad. At first, I'm a very jovial person. Everybody knows that. So, and I have responses to every question or anything thrown at me. Although I will give it back to you immediately. But when I get to the color
like
fire for fire, I always have my responses. So I won't even let you like, because I already know, especially those that know me to be very slim, like size 8. Then I went from 8 to 10, 10 to 14, 14 to 12.
Oh Lord.
So I was dancing and I'm like, what's going on? So those people who knew me as 8, are you, is it obese? Oh, you this? And I'm like, oh, then I should be grateful. Why are you not dead? At least you're holding up to die. Why are you here? So you know those. But when I get to the corner of my room,
you cry.
Then nagging. But my husband will be like, what's the big deal? Let them talk. So you need a very strong support system from home, from friends, and thank God my friends too. Because when I told them that doctor said I have PCOS, one was like, what's that? Then I said, you have phone now. Then all of them, oh, we didn't know this is what you're going through. So in fact, they send me materials. Oh, we saw this online, it was helpful. Some will send me some food. The first mushroom I took, it was from a friend. She said she read it and she had to ask a dietitian, and the person recommended. I was like, oh, thank you very much. So support system is what you need. But it's just difficult for some people out there. So that is why we created the Bloom with PCOS community, where you just, not even for PCOS people only, for general women's health, because we have a whole lot going on.
You know, talking about general women's health and not only PCOS, you know, you addressed your life is a testimony of one of the myths that wanted to dispel. You know, some people say people that have PCOS cannot have children, but thankfully we have a testimony to that. But still connected to PCOS, but touching other areas of women's health now. How can we address the intersectionality of PCOS with other health conditions? You know, sometimes these things, they are sort of side by side. When we say other health conditions, we might be talking thyroid, we might be talking about adrenal dysfunction, we might be talking about fibroid, we might be talking about ovarian cysts. These are issues that affect women. So how then do we address the intersectionality of PCOS with this other health condition?
That is why we created the awareness. So first thing is, whenever you see any changes, you don't just start treatment yourself. You need to go to the hospital. That is why the medical practitioners are there. So they will be the ones to tell you, with their series of tests, scans, and so many things. They have so many, all those, they are technologies. And thank God for innovations. They have some of these things down that can dictate anything. So that is what will let us know, oh, this is what you have. This is what, because if PCOS is not treated, it leads to some of these things you mentioned. It also leads to even ovarian cancer if it's not treated. So that's why I tell people, if you notice any difference, if your periods used to be regular and you have a regular flow, maybe 3 days, and now you're having 1 day, please don't sit down. Don't just say, oh, thank God, I'm saving pads.
Right. Just before we go, because our time is fast spent, you talked about something. You notice any change, you visit the hospital.
Yes.
One of the things that prevent people from visiting the hospital is finances. Right. There was a time I needed to see a gynecologist, right? And the health insurance did not cover it. But thinking about the amount that the hospital was charging, I had to go back home and think about it 2 times. Many of women out there have this challenge. Now, you talked about a support group, a network. Is there a plan to work with the government to provide some sort of maybe subsidized health care? Because these things cost a lot of money to properly manage, even to detect. So are there ways that you look out for support from the government in terms of access to health care, affordability, so that every woman, when she notices a change in her body, or she might be suffering from PCOS or anything, can say, okay, I can go to the hospital because I can afford it to an extent? What's the plan, or is there conversation like that?
Okay, we are having conversations on that already. So that's why we have been sourcing for partnerships with government establishments so that every woman can have access to this healthcare. It's very crucial because healthcare is not cheap.
Absolutely.
And if you have to go to the general hospitals, days that you have. I experienced that. Like, that was one of my early days issues. Long queues, and then you have to keep going, and thank God for some foundations already who are doing that for us. So we are working into partnering with them, and then also linking up with governments so that every woman can have access to this. We need them on board. We can't do it alone. And also there are some private foundations as well who pay for medical checkups for women. Some even focus on women. So, and we have them. We already have some in Ogun State. In fact, we have one that we are working to partner with already in Ogun State as well.
This is a safe place to land. I'm so glad that you turned your challenge into a springboard. Well, here
helping other women as well.
Helping other women. Here you are now,
an
advocate. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
There's still a lot of questions to ask, but time will not permit. But it's interesting that the whole of September is the PCOS awareness month. So it's possible that we can still pick up this conversation again to talk about some areas we've not touched on.
Yes.
But it's been a delight. My namesake, Sarah Olagoke.
Thank you very
so
much.
So much for joining us and for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for the courage.
Thank you.
All right, we just had that interesting and educative conversation on the concept of PCOS as well as its management, dispelling some myths and misconceptions and ways to properly manage it. We hope you learned 1 or 2 things in this PCOS awareness month. We had that conversation with Sarah Olagoke. She's a PCOS advocate. And we'll take a break now. When we're back, we'll go straight to wrap up the conversation. Just stay with us.
Stoical. Stoical. Stoical.
Oh my gosh, how time flies. First off, apologies for not being able to bring trending to you today. We were so engrossed with our guest, Sarah Adegoke. Olagoke. We had callers, but the network was very bad, so we apologize to the callers as well. All right, but this is where we're going to wrap it up on the show today. I got to say thank you to everyone who contributed to making it a success. But the bigger thanks goes to you for watching. All right, if you had fun, why don't you make it a date with us again, same time, same station. Until then, I am Vivian Okuche.
And because it's still PCOS Awareness Month, and taking a cue from what our guest said, I'd like to leave this out there. It's important not to, body shame or make certain comments on people, because you never can tell what struggles they're dealing with. In all, just show love and support as much as you can. That will be my final words on the show this morning. And remember to follow us across all of our social media platforms at High Impact Studios, High Impact TV, and The Breakfast Cafe _ I am Sarah Obuzuanza. Ensure to have yourself a fantastic Wednesday. Bye-bye.
The future is now. Yes, I said it. Is there really a future? Or is it just a facade of hope created to make you less docile? What if what you call the future is every time you're alive the next second, every time you impact someone to live somewhere? What if the future is not so far a projection as you've always thought?